Let's move on now to the next topic. And the next topic today comes to us from another one of our Patreon supporters, Jeremy Sneed, who writes, speaking of James Gunn, if Disney doesn't reconsider its position, how long do you think it will be before another studio takes a chance on him? I feel like this is a unique situation and a studio wouldn't be facing the level of backlash Disney feared. I'd love for him to take on something in the worlds of DC. Your thoughts? A lot of people have been asking lately, specifically, I mean, Jeremy, you're talking a little bit more general working with Warner Brothers, but specifically have been pondering, wouldn't James Gunn be great for doing a Green Lantern Corps movie? I've seen a lot of tweets and a lot of you guys have messaged me about that. Wouldn't it be awesome to see James Gunn doing a Green Lantern Corps movie? Bringing the whole intergalactic sensibilities that he brought to Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, the type of quick wit and writing that he can do with a movie like Slither. By the way, Slither, oh my God, if you haven't seen Slither, watch Slither. I still actually think it's James Gunn's best movie. I think it's better than Guardians. I think it's better than Guardians 2. But anyway, check those out. So what would be the chances that something like that could happen? I don't think as small as many of you might think. Honestly, I don't think the chances are as small as some of you might think they are. Look, let's look at a recent example, right? Let's look at a Mel Gibson. Somebody who said things that were worse than what James Gunn did, because James Gunn was at least joking, doesn't make it okay. Look, what James Gunn said in his tweets almost 10 years ago were nothing short of embarrassing, humiliating, stupid, idiotic. I'll run out of words to describe how stupid he was to write those. I understand they were in jest. I understand he was not serious. I understand all of that. Does not change the fact that they were idiotic. That being said, take a guy like Mel Gibson, who actually kind of did worse. It happened. He tried to reform, blah, blah, blah. At some point, studios started taking chance on him again. Eventually, he makes, I'm not Heartbreak Ridge. What was the damn name of that movie? It was a freaking awesome movie that he just did. It was nominated for Best Picture. I'm almost positive it was nominated for Best, but Hacksaw Ridge. Why I keep wanting to call it Heartbreak Ridge. That's another movie entirely. He came out, directed Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge got nominated for a whole bunch of Academy Awards, did much better at the box office than a film like this traditionally would, and just in general was a big, huge success. It got nominated for 6 Academy Awards, and I believe it won 1 or 2, nominated 6, including a nomination for Best Director for Mel Gibson. So, if something like that can happen, and then you get a guy like James Gunn, who the situation is not nearly as serious, that can absolutely happen. Okay, well, what about specifically something like Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers bringing him into DC? There's a couple reasons why I think that notion isn't as ridiculous as it may sound at first on the surface. Number one, Warner Brothers and Disney do not hate each other. We often hear people in the DC universe saying beautiful, high praise things about Marvel. We often hear Kevin Feige saying very positive things about the DC universe, blah, 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 right? But underneath that, there's got to be at least a little bit of, get a little bit of jabbing that would love. And there's a part of me that's just got to think that Walter Hamada, head of DC, would love to not just grab up James Gunn, but grab up James Gunn and then have James Gunn make the most successful DC movie yet. There would be something so poetically awesome about that, you want to throw that guy away, huh? Thank you very much. And then maybe make the most successful DC movie ever. There's something that you just know they would love about that. You just know there's something they would love about that. But I mean, at the same time, let's look at some practical stuff. James Gunn has the ability to create the type of, story narrative with humor that DC seems to want to start to incorporate more into their films. That makes a director like James Gunn actually kind of perfect. When you see the new direction that Walter Hamada seems to want to be taking the DC Universe in, let's slight course correction, James Gunn kind of epitomizes that sort of ability to combine solid narrative, good characters, and good humor all at the same time. He's a prototypical kind of director that you would want for something like that if that's the direction you're taking your franchise in. On top of that, James Gunn has a track record of success with these films. I mean, he made amazing movies like Super and Slither, but then you're getting into the big budget, superhero films with Guardians 1, Guardians 2. He was an executive producer on Avengers Infinity War. He was going to be a heavily involved person with Kevin Feige with all the intergalactic Marvel stuff moving forward until, Alan Horn pulled his bullshit. But it's really not that far-fetched. Now, would I say it's like a 70% chance that we're going to see James Gunn directing a DC movie? No, absolutely not. But whereas some of you might be tempted to say, 5% chance, I'll tell you what, I'll go as high as 20%. I'll go as high as 20%. And I'll go one further. I'll go as high as 20% that within a year, no announcements tomorrow or next week or nothing like that, but I'll say 20%, a 1 in 5 chance that within a year, we'll hear that James Gunn is directing a DC movie. Now that means 80% chance that it won't. I'm acknowledging it's unlikely. It is unlikely. I'm just saying not as unlikely as you may think. Because aside from the poeticness of it and Warner Brothers wanted to stick it to Marvel a little bit or anything, aside from all that, just on a practical level, he's the right type of director. He's prototypical for where you want to take your franchise, apparently, if you're Walter Hamada. He's got a track record of success doing these kinds of movies. There are some solid arguments to be made for it. Obviously, arguments to be made against it. Does Warner Brothers want to step into a controversy? Do they want to because Warner Brothers has had enough controversy just on their own. Do they really want to just voluntarily step into a new controversy that wasn't even theirs to start with? That's a major issue and something they'll have to decide. But hey, if a guy like Mel Gibson can come back out, make a Best Picture nominated film, be nominated for Best Director, bring a lot of success for a studio, if that can happen, and now you got a lot of studios lining up trying to get Mel to direct their next film. If that can happen, then it can happen with James Gunn. Will it? Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And for all of you guys saying that a Green Lantern Corps would be right up his alley, I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree. That would be interesting. We'll have to just wait and see. All right. That leads us, by the way, guys, to today's question of the day. I want to put it to you. Do you think James Gunn will eventually direct a DC movie for Warner Brothers? It's just that simple. That is my question for you guys today. Will James Gunn eventually direct a DC movie for Warner Brothers? Listen, down in the description of this video, just look below this video, you'll see the description. At the bottom of the description is a link that you guys can click on and go to and cast your vote. We will give the final results on tomorrow's show. But let's see, I know I just announced it, but let's see where the survey is right now. I'm sure a bunch of you guys have already answered the question. I'm going to guess like 70 of you have answered it already. Blah, 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 blah. It's loading, it's loading. Just waiting for it to load. Okay, so I'm sorry. Almost 400 of you have already answered the question. Will James Gunn direct a DC movie? Wow, right now, overwhelmingly, 84.9% of you are saying yes, he will. Just over 15% of you are saying no, he won't. So as of right now, I think it's a 20% chance. So I don't think it's likely. I just think it's more likely than you might think. But right now, 84.9% of you are saying that yes, you believe he will be directing one of these films. 15% of you are saying no, he won't. But that could change. That could change quickly. You guys have a chance now. Jump down into the description of this video. Go to the bottom. Click on that link for the question of the day and cast your vote. Will James Gunn be directing a DC movie? Let me know what you guys think. All right. Let's move on now to the third.